a WikiVidi Documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. NAS. Nasir bin Olu Dara Jones, better known by his stage name Nas, is an American hip-hop recording artist, rapper, record producer, actor, and entrepreneur. The son of Olu Dara, Nas has released 8 consecutive platinum and multi-platinum albums and has sold over 25 million records worldwide. He is also an entrepreneur through his own record label. He serves as associate publisher of Mass Appeal magazine and is the owner of a Fila sneaker store. He is currently signed to Mass Appeal. His musical career began in 1991 as a featured artist on Main Source's Live at the Barbeque. His debut album Illmatic received universal acclaim from both critics and the hip-hop community and is frequently ranked as the greatest hip-hop album of all time. Nas' follow-up It Was Written debuted on the Billboard 200, stayed on top for 4 consecutive weeks, went double platinum in 2 months, and made Nas internationally known. From 2001 to 2005, Nas was involved in a highly publicized feud with Jay-Z. Nas signed to Def Jam in 2006. In 2010, he released Distant Relatives, a collaboration album with Damian Marley, donating all royalties to charities active in Africa. His 11th studio album, Life Is Good, was nominated for Best Rap Album at the 55th Annual Grammy Awards. Nas is often named as one of the greatest hip-hop artists. MTV ranked him on their list of the greatest MCs of all time. In 2012, The Source ranked him on their list of the top 50 lyricists of all time. In 2013, Nas was ranked 4th on MTV's Hottest MCs in the Game list. About.com ranked him 1st on their list of the 50 greatest MCs of all time. In 2014, and a year later, Nas was featured on the 10 Best Rappers of All Time list by Billboard. Early life. Nasir bin Olu Dara Jones was born on September 14, 1973, in Brooklyn, New York. His father, Olu Dara, is a jazz and blues musician from Mississippi. His mother, Fanny Ann Jones, was a postal service worker from North Carolina. He has one sibling, a brother named Jabari Fret, who is best known as Jungle, a member of the hip-hop group Bravehearts. His father took his name, Olu Dara, from the Yoruba people. His African DNA indicates he has roots in countries with high Yoruba populations: Nigeria, Benin, Togo, and Ghana, as well as Mali, the Ivory Coast, Cameroon, Congo, South Africa, and Senegal. His matrilineal DNA haplogroup is of African origin, found among the Yoruba and Fulbe populations in Western Africa. As a young child, Nas and his family relocated to the Queensbridge houses in the Long Island City neighborhood of Queens. His neighbor, Willie Illinois Will Graham, influenced his interest in hip-hop by playing him records. His parents divorced in 1985, and he dropped out of school after the 8th grade. He educated himself about African culture through the 5% Nation and the New Nubian Nation. In his early years, he played the trumpet and began writing his own rhymes. Late 1980s 1994, Underground Beginnings and album debut. As a teenager, Nas enlisted his best friend and upstairs neighbor Willie Illinois Will Graham as his DJ. Nas initially went by the nickname Kid Wave, before adopting his more commonly known alias of Nasty Nas. In the late 1980s, he met up with the producer Large Professor and went to the studio where Acclaim and Kool G Rap were recording their albums. When they were not in the recording studio, Nas would go into the booth and record his own material. However, none of it was ever released. In 1991, Nas performed on Main Source's Live at the Barbeque. In mid-1992, Nas was approached by MC Search of Third Base, who became his manager and secured Nas a record deal with Columbia Records during the same year. Nas made his solo debut under the name of Nasty Nas on the single Halftime from MC Search's soundtrack for the film Zebrahead, called The New Rakim. His rhyming skills attracted a significant amount of attention within the hip-hop community. In 1994, Nas' debut album, Illmatic, was finally released. It was awarded Best Album of 1994 by The Source. It also featured production from Large Professor, Pete Rock, Q-Tip, Lay and DJ Premier, as well as guest appearances from Nas' friend As and his father Olu Dara. The album spawned several singles, including The World Is Yours, It Ain't Hard to Tell, and One Love. Shaheem Reid of MTV News called Illmatic the first classic LP of 1994. In 1994, Nas also recorded the song One on One for the soundtrack to the film Street Fighter. In his book To the Break of Dawn, a freestyle on the hip-hop aesthetic, William Jelani Cobb writes of Nas' impact. At the time, Steve Huey of AllMusic described Nas' lyrics on Illmatic as highly literate, and his raps superbly fluid regardless of the size of his vocabulary, adding that Nas is able to evoke the bleak reality of ghetto life without losing hope or forgetting the good times. Reviewing Nas' second album It Was Written, Leo Stanley of AllMusic believed the rhymes to be not as complex as those in Illmatic, but still, not only flow, but managed to tell coherent stories as well. About.com ranked Illmatic as the greatest hip-hop album of all time, and Prefix magazine praised it as the best hip-hop record ever made. 1995, 1997, Mainstream Direction and The Firm. Columbia Records began to press Nas to work towards more commercial topics, such as that of the Notorious B.I.G. who had become successful by releasing street singles that still retained radio-friendly appeal. In 1995, Nas did guest performances on the albums Do or Die by As, the infamous by the infamous Mobb Deep, Only Built for Cuban Links by Raekwon and 4,5,6 by Kool G Rap. Nas also parted ways with manager MC Serch, enlisted Steve Stout, and began preparation for his second LP, It Was Written, consciously working towards a crossover-oriented sound. It Was Written, chiefly produced by Tone and Poke of Trackmasters, was released in mid-1996. Two singles, If I Rule the World and Street Dreams, including a remix with R. Kelly, were instant hits. These songs were promoted by big-budget music videos directed by Hype Williams, making Nas a common name among mainstream hip-hop. It Was Written featured the debut of The Firm, a supergroup consisting of Nas, As, Foxy Brown, and Cormega. The album also expanded on Nas Escobar persona, who lived a Scarface/Casino-esque lifestyle. On the other hand, references to Scarface protagonist Tony Montana notwithstanding, Illmatic was more about his early life growing up in the projects. Signed to Dr. Dre's Aftermath Entertainment label, The Firm began working on their debut album. Halfway through the production of the album, Cormega was fired from the group by Steve Stout, who had unsuccessfully attempted to force Cormega to sign a deal with his management company. Cormega subsequently became one of Nas' most vocal opponents and released a number of underground hip-hop singles, dissing Nas, Stout, and Nature, who replaced Cormega as the fourth member of The Firm. Nas, Foxy Brown Arizona, and Nature present The Firm. The album was finally released in 1997 to mixed reviews. The album failed to live up to its expected sales, despite being certified platinum, and the members of the group disbanded to go their separate ways. During this period, Nas was one of 4 rappers in the hip-hop supergroup Group Therapy, who appeared on the song East Coast/West Coast Killers, from Dr. Dre Presents The Aftermath. 1998, 200, inconsistent output. In late 1998, Nas began working on a double album, to be entitled I Am, the autobiography. He intended it as the middle ground between Illmatic and It Was Written, with each track detailing a part of his life. In 1998, Nas co-wrote and starred in Hype Williams' 1998 feature film Belly, I Am. The autobiography was completed in early 1999, and a music video was shot for its lead single, Nas Is Like. It was produced by DJ Premier and contained vocal samples from It Ain't Hard to Tell. Music critic MF DiBella noticed that Nas also covered politics, the state of hip-hop, Y2K, race, and religion with his own unique perspective. In the album, besides autobiographical lyrics, much of the LP was leaked into MP3 format onto the internet, and Nas and Stout quickly recorded enough substitute material to constitute a single-disc release. The second single on I Am was Hate Me Now, featuring Sean, Puffy, Combs, which was used as an example by Nas critics accusing him of moving towards more commercial themes. The video featured Nas and Combs being crucified in a manner similar to Jesus Christ. After the video was completed, Combs requested his crucifixion scene be edited out of the video. However, the unedited copy of the "Hate Me Now" video made its way to MTV. Within minutes of the broadcast, Combs and his bodyguards allegedly made their way into Steve Stout's office and assaulted him, at one point apparently hitting Stout over the head with a champagne bottle. Stout pressed charges, but he and Combs settled out of court that June. Columbia had scheduled to release the infringed material from I Am under the title Nostradamus during the later half of 1999, but, at the last minute, Nas decided to record an entire new album for the 1999 release of Nostradamus. Nostradamus was therefore rushed to meet a November release date. Though critics were not kind to the album, it did result in a minor hit, You Owe Me. In 2000, Nas and Ill Will Records presents QB's Finest, which is popularly known as simply QB's Finest, was released on Nas Ill Will Records. QB's Finest is a compilation album that featured Nas and a number of other rappers from Queensbridge projects, including Mobb Deep, Nature, Capone, The Bravehearts, Tragedy Gaddafi, Millennium Thug, and Cormega, who had briefly reconciled with Nas. The album also featured guest appearances from Queensbridge hip-hop legends Roxanne Shante, MC Shan, and Marley Marl. Shan and Marley Marl both appeared on the lead single, To Bridge 2001, which was based on Shan and Marl's 1986 recording, The Bridge. Fans and critics feared that Nas' career was declining, artistically and commercially, as both I Am and Nostradamus were criticized as inconsistent. 2001-2003, Dispute with Jay-Z and Artistic Comeback. After trading veiled criticisms on various songs, freestyles and mixtape appearances, the highly publicized dispute between Nas and Jay-Z became widely known to the public in 2001. Jay-Z, in his song, Takeover, criticized Nas by calling him fake and his career lame. Nas responded with Ether, in which he compared Jay-Z to such characters as J.J. Evans from the sitcom Good Times and cigarette company mascot Joe Camel. The song was included on Nas' fifth studio album, Illmatic, released in December 2001. His daughter, Destiny, is listed as an executive producer on Illmatic, so she can always receive royalty checks from the album. Illmatic peaked at number 5 on the US Billboard 200 chart and featured the singles, Got Herself A and One Mic. In response to Ether, Jay-Z released the song, Super Ugly, which Hot 97 radio host Angie Martinez premiered on December 11, 2001. In the song, Jay-Z explicitly boasts about having an affair with Nas' girlfriend, Carmen Bryan. New York City hip-hop radio station Hot 97 issued a poll asking listeners which rapper made the better diss song. Nas won, with 58% while Jay-Z got 42% of the votes. In 2002, in the midst of the dispute between the two New York rappers, Eminem cited both Nas and Jay-Z as being two of the best MCs in the industry, in his song Till I Collapse. Both the dispute and Illmatic signaled an artistic comeback for Nas after a string of inconsistent albums. The Lost Tapes, a compilation of previously unreleased or bootlegged songs from 1997-2001, was released by Columbia in September 2002. The collection attained respectable sales and received rave reviews from critics. In December 2002, Nas released the Godson album including its lead single, Made You Look, which used a pitched-down sample of the Incredible Bongo Band's Apache. The album peaked at number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 1 on the top R&B/hip-hop albums charts despite widespread internet bootlegging. Time magazine named his album's best hip-hop album of the year. Vibe gave it 4 stars and The Source gave it 4 mics. The second single, I Can, which reworked elements from Beethoven's Für Elise, became Nas' biggest hit to date in 2003, garnering substantial radio airplay on urban, rhythmic, and top 40 radio stations, as well as on the MTV and VH1 music video networks. Godson also includes several songs dedicated to Nas' mother, who died of cancer in April 2002, including Dance. In 2003, Nas was featured on the Korn song, Play Me, from Korn's Take a Look in the Mirror LP. Also in 2003, a live performance in New York City, featuring Ludacris, Jadakiss, and Darryl McDaniels, was released on DVD as Made You Look, Godson Live. Godson was critical in the power struggle between Nas and Jay-Z in the hip-hop industry at the time. In an article at the time, Joseph Jones of Pop Matters stated, "Whether you like it or not, Ether did this. With Godson, Nas has the opportunity to cement his status as the king of NY, at least for another 3-4 year term. Or he could prove that he is not the savior that hip-hop fans should be pinning their hopes on." After the album's release, he began helping the Bravehearts, made up of his younger brother Jungle and friend Wiz, put together their debut album, Bravehearted. The album features guest appearances from Nas, Nashawn, Lil Jon, and Jolly Black. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like